good and evil walk hand in hand.
Fantastic film, gentlemen. Long Shadow feels like a Western made for today, deeply rooted in the genre's golden age. What drew you guys to Back to the Frontier, and how did you want this film to redefine modern Westerns for a new audience?
Well, I think as you've seen it, it's the twist that was really, coming up on the turn of the century. There was so much going on in the world.
Sure.
The study of psychology, the advent of the automobile, electricity. So we wanted to lean into that somewhat, and with the twist of the film, it was undeniably an element that I don't think anybody's seen in a Western. So that's what got us there. Is honestly that piece of the script got it greenlit, and then you start building it out, and you bring on Dermot and Jacqueline and Dominic, and the world explodes.
It absolutely does. Now, you've both lived in Westerns in different ways. Dermot from Young Guns to The Last Outlaw, and William, incredible run on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. When you united through this story, what did you want to say about how the myth of the West has evolved from the 90s?
The 1890s.
Yeah,
Uh,
which 90s?
I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
honestly, it could be the 1890s or even the 1990s when we saw those Westerns
Oh,
that you guys were
yeah.
on.
Honestly, my goal was to make a Western that felt European. I was obsessed with production design. I was obsessed with costume design. I was obsessed with cinematography. I was obsessed with score. So I wanted to make it feel lush and beautiful and romantic. I mean, at the end of the long day, this is a romantic Western.
Yes.
Um, so that was really my goal. I didn't want a dirt Western. I wanted something that had, you know, gravitas and heart.
Uh,
Yes, and so it has, just like you said, the golden age of Westerns feel, but so many of the meanings and thoughts behind the story narrative are from today. Or really, what William just said is capturing that time in American history when it's transitioning and then things are, the future is today back then. So your late 1880s, just when those technologies are breaking.
Right. And honestly, like you had said, Dermot, this film is so layered with a lot of things that we're seeing now in films. Dermot, Dallas is a man haunted by his past, but offering something else with a second chance. How did you approach balancing that hardened outlaw exterior with that deep well of regret and compassion?
Well, it's in the words, and then what you don't know until you're doing it is that it's in the environment, it's in the air, it's in the light in Arizona. But you've also tipped your hat at the costumes. These interiors were so Western, lush, and deep wine, colorful, and just gorgeous. So much of that. I'll mention too that William and I worked really closely on how he was going to look. Obviously, the costumes,
Sure.
amazing. So much of the actor's job is really enhanced by all of that. And then that on this film, it was just handed to me. So it was like stepping into another time to portray that role.
And it's honestly like watching another time, like completely, like you're transported into a time machine watching the film. Now, William, you said the story lives on the pillars of courage, mercy, and love of family. What did
Yeah.
Dallas represent to you personally? A symbol of redemption, or was this a cautionary tale about a man that can go before he loses his soul?
I think Dallas represented the heart of the film because without him, Marcus Dollar would never discover his own heart.
Sure.
He needed a man that he trusted and a man that could open his eyes to what was good, what was bad, and then allow Marcus to ultimately learn that lesson on his own.
It's incredible. Now, Dermot, you talked about this collaboration process with William. William, I'm shocked that this is your directorial debut. You did such an incredible job. You talk about speaking the language of an actor. How did that shape the direction on set, and especially that collaboration with the two of you day to day?
Well, it was easy. If you have great, I mean, I'm an actor by trade, but if you have great actors that you're working with, and Dermot and I mean, we're both seasoned men, and I was just like, "Hey, Dermot," and he was like, "Yeah, I got it."
Well, yeah, and I'll say, and we can tell you true, it was much less, I won't say less work, but it was just so facile between William and myself. But I know you worked with younger actors. older actors and people who really needed direction. So I saw you in both formats, and you adjusted like any director where it was needed. But so much of the visual and the image and the feel of the movie coming from the director on this was so persuasive to all of our performances. Yeah.
Now, the landscape of the old Tuscan studios is practically another character itself. Dermot, being surrounded by that history, how did that affect your performance? And William, did those locations kind of influence the storytelling? We'll start with you, Dermot.
Yes, I felt like I was just stepping into it. And it's a classic standing Western town that's been used scores of times over decades. I'd never worked there, so for me, I'm stepping on the stages are. I mean, the interiors are all dressed as sets for the film. The house I worked at, mainly that whole thing, that hacienda, was so authentic inside and out. So you don't usually find that. So that too made my job. It almost takes part of the job away, and it becomes. Yeah, those are the zones we're looking for, where it's between real and real.
Real reactions. Yeah, absolutely. William, how about for you? Did those locations influence the storytelling?
Well, I'd worked at Old Tucson many times in films and music videos that I'd produced. So I knew it, and I knew that it had the bones of what was necessary to tell a story. And I knew the landscape, and I knew the surrounding areas. The shot when Marcus and Dulce are up on top of the mountain looking out, that's called Gates Pass in Tucson. And I knew it was there, and I was like, that's where that scene is going to happen. So I knew I could. And then Old Tucson Studios, I mean, I dare say we shot every square inch of that place.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was the perfect set for this film.
William, you said this film touches the birth of psychology and mental illness in the 1800s,
Mhm.
especially the 1880s. That's such a fascinating twist on this genre, one that we haven't, I don't think I've really ever seen before. How did that shape your direction and the characters' inner battles?
Well, it shaped the entire process from number one, greenlighting the script. That was the piece of the script that made it possible. Because other than that, we were my partners and I, Tom Brady and Alan Gilmer. Let's find a script with something unique. And when I brought this script to them, they're like, "Oh my gosh!" So that's everything. That's the linchpin of the film, right?
And
So
it's a film where the linchpin moment you're talking about deepens the movie. So it's not, there's no hokey twists in here where you're just trying to get a pizzazz in your movie out of it. It has a purpose in the narrative. So it's so satisfying when you sort of gain that knowledge. It's not like it's a twist. I paused on that word earlier today, William, because I feel like it's a transition, and that's certainly the story that you're watching Marcus Dollar go through. Simple as putting it, the journey to manhood, but in a Western environment, and then what you see is how it's just beyond that. That's what's fascinating about Long Shadow.
I kind of want to follow up on that because that's exactly right. Maybe twist is the wrong word because it's a natural story progression as we see within the story. Because Dallas wrestles with the trauma and ghosts from his past, almost kind of like this proto-modern therapy inside of a gunfighter story arc. Talk to me about accessing that headspace without losing the Western swagger.
Yeah, well, William's smiling because you're nailing it, Joseph. That's exactly what drew me to the script and then informed my performance, which one kind of reverse engineers in a film. I'm in Chicago Fire right now. Good luck with that. You never know what's coming next week and how the end is going to go. But when you're given a finished piece that's a screenplay for a film, you know how to set up your performance so the end explains itself. And in this one, it's obviously in particular that. And the moment that you get to know your lead character the best. So it's like I said, there's a purpose for this turn in the story because it's when you realize, oh, that's him. And you know all of him instead of what you thought you knew. So it's just a wonderful turn into, I guess, what you'd call the third act of the film, right?
I
Yeah.
want to talk about Blaine May real quick because he
Yeah.
is phenomenal as Marcus.
Yeah,
There's
man.
this strong surrogate father dynamic between Dallas and Marcus. Dermot, talk to me about the conversations the two of you had about how much how much hope versus hardness was shown in their relationship?
What an interesting question. I guess, I could feel Blaine having, we had that actual experience going on. So to be like blunt about it, he's kind of new at it, and I'm kind of been there, done that. And so then that's reflected in our storyline. So I felt him wanting to learn, even as an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
I'm not there to teach anybody how to act. I wouldn't dream of it, right? But you can feel it in a process. And that I'll only share with Blaine, only share it on those days that I worked with him. And, I'll just say you got a great star there and a really down to earth guy. And he rides pretty good too. So, yeah, give him that as well. Not all of them can. So, here's to you.
William, you've mentioned that you sequestered Blaine before the emotional scenes to help him react to react from a raw place. Can you talk about that process and how Dermot's mentorship parallels Dallas within the story?
That's a great. Well, you're good, Joseph.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, could you hang out with us all the time, Joseph? No, but you're right, and I hadn't thought of it on that parallel. But yes, before that courtroom scene, I mean, I'm an actor by trade, right? So I literally put Blaine in a room by himself. I told the crew, don't open that door. And he just sat there. And then I escorted him personally from that room to the set, sat him down, stood with him, and then said, when you're ready, you just wave your finger at me and we'll go. So he prepared. He's really a brilliant actor. And that courtroom scene, I mean, I watched the film yesterday we're mastering to go to the theaters. So I wanted to make sure every frame is perfect. And I still get tears in my eyes in the courtroom scene because he's so compelling.
Sure. Yeah.
So, so I don't know if I answered your question, but yes, I did.
You did. Absolutely. I mean, he honestly, like he's everybody in this film is so good. Now,
does it say something when because I'm not in that part of the movie, of course, does it say something when you're in the movie and you watch through there and then you rewind and watch the scene again? That's a good thing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, that's what I did, really, and to watch his performance twice.
Yeah, he blew me away as well. Now, since Westerns often end with a man riding off into the sunset, what does the horizon look like for each of you creatively and personally after this experience?
Well, thank you. I'm going to be in William Shockley's next film. That's decided.
Right. Playing cello on the score,
and playing cello on the score. That's also decided. It's just got that offer today. It's
incredible! Congratulations!
Thank you. And I'm keeping busy on Chicago Fire, and also they go right into a second season of The Hunting Wives, which was that sensation on Netflix this summer. So they want to try and strike again next summer. So stay tuned.
Awesome. William?
Yeah, I'm leaving for Scotland in maybe 10 days to do a feature film with John Boyega and Cara Delevingne. So it's a really great script. One of my producing partners is Steven Schneider, who is the king and master of horror. And he brought us a brilliant script by Chris Sparling, who will direct. And it's incredible.
Now,
Rick Leg, that's something.
Yeah, you guys are gonna crush it. My last question for the both of you, William, with Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Dermot, you starred in Young Guns and Long Shadow, obviously. But I want to ask you, because now that you guys have had decades of the West in perspective of playing some major roles in Westerns, what would you tell your younger selves before stepping onto that horse? What would that be if you can go back and talk to your younger selves?
Oh boy, of all the films I've done, the handful, a little more maybe, of Westerns that I've been involved in, they impact you so deeply. I kept all of that. So I guess it'd be on the other stuff where I'd have some advice on myself. But really, my Western films were glorious. The people I worked with, some of them just now, Terrence Stamp, we lost him, who was such an incredible role in Young Guns in 1988, and since then. So yeah, I'll just answer by saying what a privilege it's been to portray roles like that in this genre.
How about yourself, William?
Yeah, telling my younger self something. I think I would probably tell my younger self to stay in the moment as much as possible, because like Dermot said, it is a privilege to be in this genre. And I think you learn so much about life and humanity in a period of time in American history, at least, that is so different than today. So there's so much to be learned about right over wrong, good over evil, family, community, um, and empathy, you know.
I love that. Look, Dermot, you're one of the best actors out there. I love everything you do. And William, keep directing movies because I can't believe this is your directorial debut. You
Thank
knocked
you.
it out of the park.
Thank you.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Thank
So
you
did you,
so much.
Joseph. Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
Joseph,
Yeah.
you're invited back to the party, baby.
Hey, I'm there. I'm there. Come on, let's go.